Hello and welcome back to the TBC. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe. It only takes a second and I'd really appreciate it. Many thanks. Anyway, on with today's excellent show. First off, the electric car revolution is on its way and sadly, we have to embrace the future as it starts to gather momentum. Now, as you're probably aware, most manufacturers are promising full electric vehicles in line with government directive for a cleaner environment, which, if I was to take my petrol head off just for a second, has to be good for everybody, quieter roads and cleaner air. If you've ever driven a fully electric car, you will know that generally performance is fantastic and in some instances completely bonkers. That's the good news. However, with an electric car, there's no real connection, no lovely exhaust notes, no dipping the clutch, blipping the throttle. In other words, there's no direct mechanical link in controlling the car. I just love old school driving because I, like you, love to drive. So I've had some thoughts about what real lovers of driving should consider for the future. And it's this: go out and buy the petrol powered sports car that you've always wanted. Why? Because I think as production for petrol finishes and there's no more of these cars being made, then demand is likely to increase enormously. So my prediction is that the prices are going to go up and up. So any initial investment on your dream car is going to negate any depreciation and it will probably be worth more than you paid for it. So for me, that's a no-brainer. Supply and demand, my friends, supply and demand. So what should you buy? I would go manual, petrol and sporty. Let's talk about some obvious choices and look at some cars to consider at different price points. So let's start at the top end, and even with what we've already discussed, a Porsche will always be a really good choice. If you have a good budget, then a 911. Personally, I would go with a Cayman, a GT4, perfect manual, great car to drive, or if the budget won't quite stretch, then maybe a GTS. Another great driver's car would be the Lotus Exige V6 manual supercharged engine, fantastic to drive, light, nimble, and has great road presence. Another one to consider if you want to go back to basics driving and you're not bothered about a roof would be at the Caterham. I used to own one with just 160 horsepower, but of course it only weighed about 500 kilograms, so performance was breathtaking. And you can pick up an older example for not a lot of money. Perhaps you're a BMW fan, so rather than the popular M3, I would take a look at an original M2. Sounds great and with a brilliant chassis. So what if you're on a tight budget? Well, you won't go wrong with an MX-5. Go for the 2 litre and you can pick up one well under 5 grand. Rear wheel drive, great fun to drive. So there's just a quick snapshot of the cars I've owned and driven that I would recommend. But of course, there's lots to choose from in this sector. Perhaps you have a favourite. If you can think of a car that ticks all the petrol head boxes, then put it in the comments down below. As we said at the beginning of the show, electric cars are the future. There's no doubt that as a daily drive, they make perfect sense. There's lots of new models coming soon and I'll be hoping to do some real testing and comparing on the TBC for you later this year. I will of course continue to test some of those gorgeous and lovely classics as well as the Fast and Furious, all on the channel. Obviously, thanks for watching, and why not check out my other fantastic videos on cars as diverse as a V8 Series 1 Land Rover to the new Jaguar F-Type Coupe. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe. Otherwise, you're going to miss those future test drive videos all on the Tim Bush channel. Brilliant!
You have been watching the fabulous Tim Bush channel.